Hello everyone, welcome back to a video where I am just going to question why we have not gotten some more void craftable primaries aside from the ones that we have, because man, I just really want a craftable 140 hand cannon, or even if it's an enhanceable one, like I'd be okay with that. But overall, the lack of enhanceable void primaries is just horrible. It's horrible. And I'll get to why it's kind of weird that we haven't had more. So I would argue that in Destiny right now, the best void enhanceable primary, at least for PvE, is definitely the Recluse, or maybe Elsie's Rifle is also a good second. Obviously in PvP, you have Shayura's Wrath, you have the Exalted Truth, you have some solid options out there. Now, in this conversation, I am mostly excluding exotics. Of course, there are some really good void exotics out there: Collective Obligation, Graviton Lance, Lemonarch, Buried Bloodline. I mean, well, even though Buried Bloodline isn't a primary, but you can use it like a primary, depending on your loadout. And sure, there are actually some other solid void primaries out there that are not craftable, but they are enhanceable, or at least ones that are non-enhanceable as well. You do have the Ross Argo, which is a pretty solid option. To be completely honest, aside from Elsie's Rifle, Recluse, like Ross Argo, and there is the new hand cannon that's a heavy burst, the Mahi's HC4 Omelan hand cannon, which is actually a pretty solid hand cannon. It's not great, but you know, it's not bad. It's a hand cannon. Aside from that, like, again, there's not that many good void primaries. Now you're probably wondering, why am I complaining about this? Like, it's such a niche thing to complain about, and really it's because we've gotten some craftable void hand cannons in the past. You know, we have Optative from Season of the Wish, we have Word of Crota, and we also have the one other hand cannon that I'm blanking on right now, because again, nobody uses these 180 hand cannons. I mean, Word of Crota is probably the best of the three. I know you can put Golden Tricorn on Optative, but they're not it, in my opinion anyways. There are much better guns out there to use, like Recluse. And, you know, a void hand cannon would slap so hard, a 140 specifically. There is the 120 targeted redaction, which does get destabilizing rounds, but aside from that, it doesn't have good stats, and the third column perks just aren't great. And the origin trait is more of a PvE origin trait, to be completely honest. It's, you know, it's okay. You could be like, well, why don't you just use your Palindrome or your Kindled Orchid? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. The Palindrome that I do have from back in the day is just not a great roll. It's Overflow Rampage. It's okay, I guess. Somehow I have 700 Crucible kills on this thing. Don't ask me why. Another option would be, again, Kindled Orchid, if you have one. I deleted mine forever ago because, you know, we all thought that it would never come back, and it did, so yay. But there just is not a single 140 hand cannon that's void in the game that we can use. You do for solar, you know, you have Zauli's Bane, you have Luna's Howl. For Arc, you have Nation of Beast. You have some solid options out there for Arc and Void, or sorry, Arc and Solar. You know, we've gotten so many Arc and Solar craftable weapons that it's crazy to me how the new Void Pulse from the new Solar Pulse from the raid, Nullify, wasn't made into a Void Pulse. I mean, we have so many incandescent pulses in the game. We literally got one last season in Season of the Wish at Hortative, and somewhat overdone as far as solar. I mean, you have the Amit, you have Abyss Defiant with incandescent. Again, Luna's Howl, Zauli's Bane. I could go on for quite some time listing off these weapons. It's just truly a shame. And we did get a reprisal of Shayura's Wrath, but again, that's mostly going to be a PvP gun. It might have a good PvE roll on it, but is it better than Recluse with Repulsor Brace Desperate Measures? I'm not sure. Might have to do testing with that, I guess, but for the most part, people are going to be using Shayura's for PvP as they should, because it's just really good in PvP. And the hope with this video is, you know, obviously with some of these episodic guns that are going to be coming out, most of them are probably already done, and I'm just hoping that maybe Bungie will see this and be like, hey, maybe we should put some more Void primaries in the game. Again, if they're craftable, great. If I have to go do a dungeon or something for them, I don't mind doing that at all, because it's worth it. I would just like to see like a hand cannon with like repulsor destabilizing, repulsor desperate measures, anything like that for PvE, because I want to use it with my Gear Falcons. Is that too much to ask? Maybe a little bit. I think this would be different if we had solid Void primaries to chase, to enhance, but that again just isn't the case. Especially when you compare it to, you know, the guns that the other elements have. Like, you can craft a really good Callus mini tool. You have Imperative, which is a really solid, or sorry, not Imperative, Subjunctive Arc SMG from Season of the Wish. I'm thinking of a different gun. And again, just in general, these guns are much more accessible. Like, if you have Lightfall, you can go get a solid Phylotactic Spiral. You have Prosecutor from the Prophecy Dungeon, which can get Volt Shot on it. You have Shadow Price, which got reprised and has a decent roll with stats for all. Volt Shot, I've been using it a little bit. It's nothing to shout home about, but it's certainly not that bad. And again, you know, we just got Nullify, which is another good one. And I'm gonna stop complaining about how other elements have better guns, but it's sad, but it's true. It's almost as if maybe Bungie's a little bit afraid of destabilizing becoming meta, even though they've just made it so horrible that most people won't even use it. That's why, like, most people didn't go for destabilizing on their recluses. They went for literally anything else, like Frenzy or, again, Desperate Measures, which I am a stan of. Let me know what kind of gun, or maybe certain archetype of gun you'd like to see. Again, 140 hand cannon is the one that just comes into my head as a Void 140 is a gun that we don't have in the game that has an origin trait, right? We do have Palindrome and, again, Kindled Orchid, but we don't have a 140 that's enhanceable or is, oh my goodness, has an origin trait. I just had a brain fart there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one.